Hi boys and girls, today I will be reading to you Chicka Chicka Boom Boom by Bill Martin Jr. and John Archambault, illustrated by Lois Ellert. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom by Bill Martin Jr. and John Archambault, illustrated by Lois Ellert. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. A told B and B told C, I'll meet you at the top of the coconut tree. Whee, said D to E, F, G, I'll beat you to the top of the coconut tree. Chicka chicka boom boom, will there be enough room? Here comes H up the coconut tree. And I and J and tag along K, all on their way up the coconut tree. Chicka chicka boom boom, will there be enough room? Look who's coming, LMNOP. And QRS and TUV. Still more, W and XYZ. The whole alphabet up the, oh no! Chicka chicka boom boom. Skit scat scoodle doo, flip flop flee. Everybody running to the coconut tree. Mamas and papas and uncles and aunts hug their little dears and then dust their pants. Help us up, cried A, B, C. Next from the pile up, skinned knee D, and stub toe E, and patched up F. Then comes G, all out of breath. H is tangled up with I, J and K are about to cry. L is knotted like a tie. M is looped, N is stooped, O is twisted, alley-oop. Skit, scat, scoodle, doop, flip, flop, flee. Look who's coming, it's black-eyed P, QRS, and loose-toothed T. Then UVW, wiggle jiggle free. Last to come, XYZ, and the sun goes down on the coconut tree. But, chicka chicka boom boom, look, there's the full moon. A is out of bed, and this is what he said. Dare, double dare, you can't catch me. I'll beat you to the top of the coconut tree. Chicka chicka, boom boom. And that's the end. Have you ever felt pressure to do something you weren't comfortable with? Maybe you wanted to look tough in front of your friends, and you didn't want everyone to think you were a wimp. How would you feel if your friend dared you to swim across a treacherous river and you didn't know how to swim? Would you do it to seem tough? In this book, titled On My Honor by Marion Dane Bauer, which is a Newbery Honor book, Tony accepts the dare to swim across a raging river, even though he cannot swim. Joel and Tony have been best friends for as long as they could remember. Tony is adventurous and is always finding things for him and Joey to do. One day, Tony decides it would be fun for him and Joel to go climb the bluffs at a park called Starved Rock. Joel is very apprehensive and is almost positive his father will not allow it. Surprisingly, though, Joel's father gives in and lets both boys go to the park. One of the last things Joel's father asks Joel is, "On your honor," he said, "you'll watch for traffic and you won't go anywhere except the park. You'll be careful the whole way?" "On my honor," Joel repeated, and he crossed his heart solemnly, then raised his right hand. To himself he added, "The only thing I'll do is get killed on the bluffs, and it'll serve you right." While on their way to Starved Rock, Tony suggests that they should swim in the Vermilion River. The Vermilion River is known for strong currents and sinkholes, and people were advised not to go near it. After Joel finally gives in and gets in the river with Tony, he realizes he is breaking his promise to his father. After getting aggravated with Tony for making him swim in the dangerous river, he dares Tony to race him all the way to the sandbar. After swimming for a while, Joel notices that Tony has disappeared. Once Joel makes it to the sandbar, he calls out, "Made it!" When his hand scraped bottom with his approach to the sandbar, he stood up. "And I beat you, too." There was no answer. Joel turned to check. Behind him stretched the river, smooth and glistening, reddish-brown, but there was no sign of Tony. There was nothing to indicate that Joel wasn't alone, hadn't come into the water alone to start with, except, of course, he hadn't. He started to walk back, pushing through the water impatiently, as though it were a crowd holding him back. "Tony!" he yelled. "Where are you?" A faint echo of his own voice, high like the indistinct mewing of a cat, bounced back at him from the bluffs, but there was no other reply. Joel kept walking forward, pushing against the wall of water. Maybe Tony had turned back. Maybe he was hiding in the bushes somewhere along the bank, watching him, waiting for him to come unglued. "All right, Tony Zabrinski, I know your tricks. Come out, wherever you are." There was no answer, not even a giggle from the bushes or some rustling. "Doggone you, Tony, if you mess with my clothes." But he could see his clothes, the pile of them, lying where he had left them, his red t-shirt marking the spot. "Tony!" He began to move forward in lunges, gasping for breath, half choking. Tony had to be hiding. He had to be just off to the side somewhere, laughing. There was no other possibility. It was when Joel stepped off into the nothingness of the deep water, the river bottom suddenly gone from beneath his feet, as if he had hit a black hole in space, that he knew. As he choked and fought his way to the surface, he understood everything. So what do you think Joel's going to realize? Maybe he made a big mistake by daring Tony to swim across the river. And I guess you'll have to read the book yourself to find out exactly what happens to both Joey and Tony on their adventure. This book had me on a roller coaster of emotions while reading it, but I highly recommend this book for mature audiences, at least in middle school and with parents' permission.